Welcome to the bold analysis. The person who advised Raila Odinga, or the decision by Raila to make that press briefing in Serena, was a big embarrassment and actually a miscalculated move. In that press briefing, he completely goofed out of the real thing. And I've looked at the comment section. I followed that 27-minute presser in Serena. And I looked at the comment section. You can go and check that video as Mio TV were live. You'll realize how Kenyans were really attacking Odinga. And I want us to look at that press briefing. I'm going to show you why Odinga did a blunder, a miscalculated move. And also, in this podcast, we are going to look at the real crisis. Why? The political players are actually in a big crisis. The president is in a crisis. And Odinga's proposal of referendum is not close. It's not even an inch to the solution. And I also want you to help us navigate through all this. So kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos. And thank you very much for supporting this podcast. Subscription is absolutely free. But the advantage here is when you subscribe to our channel, you will be getting notifications whenever we publish a video. So subscribe. I'm in Nairobi. It is now relatively calm, but we've had a bad Monday, a dark Monday. People have lost lives, properties have been burned, and one of the worst videos I've seen on internet today is this video.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Record. Wow. Wanamvua chini. What the hell? Polisi amebaki na mtu akimsaidia, wamechukua huyo mtu ameenda wakimpiga, wakachukua ona bado wanamvuta kaa gunia pale station. Wameichukua, ndio hiyo tunasema wanamvuta kaa gunia. Unamvuta na unaweza mbele. I know. Hiyo ameshika huyo anaenda kumaliza.
That gentleman being dragged there, he was shot in Juja. And he was still bleeding even though he died. So after he was shot by the police, then what they were supposed to do is to carry the body. Of course, one of the protesters who was there, was actually carrying the body, taking the body to the police. And immediately they arrived there, the police dragged the body qua floor. I don't just get it. Yes, it's called Gordon. Yes, Gordon is dead. But do you agree that there's no dignity even in death? That is the worst. And I've seen some raw videos of what happened in these streets, and I can tell you, what we have as a police service is just a bunch of beasts. Heartless, inhuman, and very reckless, if you ask me. Even though today, I saw a video of, I think that was in Roysambu, is it Roysambu or Kasaran, where they actually arrested some people who were looting a supermarket, and they were arrested and taken to the police station through the truck That would have been the best. Whatever you have, guys, I don't know. I just don't know. You look at some of these videos, they are very terrifying. Sometimes you just need to. Now, after failing to attend Sabasaba, which I analyzed yesterday night, and I told you people that Odinga was not going to Kamkunji. Remember, he had announced that himself he will be at Kamkunji grounds for Sabasaba at 3 p.m. And after failing to show up, he comes up with a very lame excuse of roadblocks. I'm calling it lame because there was no plan of going to Sabasaba even by himself. Remember, there was no tent that was erected there. Not even a single leader or ODM mobilizer was seen on the ground mobilizing people for Odinga. And he had known very well that in a Nairobi operation, all roads leading to CBD were going to be blocked. So even as he made that statement, he was actually acting some script. But kwa ground, when you listen to this gentleman, you'll understand that Odinga could not go to Kamkunji.
Nimetoka Madhare, Sabasaba ni kama kawa. Leo nimekuja hapa Kamkunji, nisikie baba ameachia kutetea wananchi, anatetea Ruto. Sabasaba ilikuwa maandamano ya majenzi. Sabasaba ilikuwa maandamano ya kama kawa ya serikali. Sisi kama vijana tunaambiwa ati siku zetu ni ya kesho. Ati tutapata kazi kesho, na ingawaje Ruto amechukua wazee wote ndio wanakula hii serikali. Na mimi naambia William, bwana president, wajensia wakuenda kuandamana, uchukue wazee uweke kwa serikali. Majensi wanataka vijana wafanye kazi. Na bwana rais, mkiwa na prime minister Raila Odinga, ground is too hot for William Ruto. Masangwenya wenye nakula pesa ya William Ruto, waambie rais ukweli. Saa hii kama ni maandamano, leo haikukuwa maandamano, lakini Ruto ameweka askari kila mahali. Ameweka tension kwa Kenya. Na Murkomen, ndugu yangu, huyu ndio Murkomen ambaye alikuwa analia pale Bomas siku ya BBI. Akilia. Na venye wameweka tension kwa ulimwengu yote. Kila kona ya Kenya iko police, kila mahali. Hata tulikuwa tunaenda maandamano na tunanunua vitu kwa barabara. Lakini saa hii, bwana, one term is real, and wakicheza itakuwa after.
Yes, Odinga could not go to Kamkunji for that reason. It was relatively hostile for pro-GOK audience. Throughout the day, they engaged the police in some running battles, and we understand that one person was shot around that area. So Odinga did not go to Kamkunji not because of roadblocks. There was no plan of him going in the first place. And even if you look at his demeanor when he's making that presentation, you just understand that he's just playing gimmicks. The attendance, he fashioned it as an ODM presser, but I saw a fringe attendance. Why? Those who attended it, MCA, Alai, Aladwa, Makadara MP, Atandi, he was only accompanied by broad-based worship team. The only person who was missing there probably is Oburu. Oburu is the chairman. In Siaya, Oburu is the chairman. In Homa Bay, it is Oburu and Atandi are broad-based. In Homa Bay, it is Opondo Kaluma. I don't know who is broad-based chief in Migori. In Kisumu, I also don't know. In Kisumu is gender. So I did not see the ODM Secretary General. I did not see any other deputy amongst all those deputy party leaders or vice chairs or everything. So that is not an ODM. I do not feel the ODM, and we understand several other leaders boycotted that. Timing of the press. In the middle of that crisis, he was actually floating in a proposal. Many people would have expected, is that what the state is saying? And for him to make that, I'm saying the timing is not calculated, because at that point, he has proposed a referendum. At that point, everyone feels that the state is using him. Let me tell you. We are in a crisis. People are being killed. Protests have erupted in different towns. And the country is tensed. Then you are told you called a presser in Serena, and make your proposal. I'm not disabusing that proposal. But I'm looking at that timing. You are putting yourself for slaughter. And now if you read at media reports, because of the broad-based, the country feel that you're the one who is being used to say all this. Maybe now to propose that. And this is not to mean that Odinga cannot have his own mind. I think we also have to agree on that. He can have his own mind. But due to the timing, that aspect comes up. Now, what, I don't know, what kitilini bo sana, and let me say, I think Kiswahili will get kitilini bo sana, is Raila, telling the country that Murkomen apologized to him over shoot to kill.
Before it, even one before that other regime, I've said that, we inherited a colonial police force. And as you know, the colonialism was meant to rule the natives. It was not a people-friendly government. So what should have happened was to democratize this police force, reform it so that it becomes a service, not a force. It is not enough to just change the words. That is from a force to a service. You must take measures to ensure that it's really a service, not a force. And this has not happened in our country. I've given examples of where it has happened. For example, in Tanzania. And you see a police force which is people friendly and also not trigger happy. About the minister you're talking about, I said it was totally out of order.
And it's not boring me that he said he apologized to him, but the shoot to kill is still happening. That was Odinga saying Murkomen. He was asked about that shoot to kill, and Duncan Kayemba was asking that issue of shoot to kill because looking at what had happened during the day. Now, Odinga is saying that is now something that it was settled and Nani apologized to him. Yes, probably he needed those accolades, but I don't know why Murkomen would apologize to Odinga. One first is just putting himself like he's so highly regarded that in such a mistake someone has to go to apologize to him. Then Kesha atasema I'm not in government. But that is not the point. My context here is, being that the question came from Duncan Kayemba, he needed to use that opportunity to address what has happened. Look at this story. Look at this. This is a policeman who are given special instructions, and they came out on street saying, I have the permission to kill you. They were goons. I want to believe that if I was seated and was gathering all this, even Odinga has the media team and a little bit of his own kitchen intel that can tell him, Baba, this is what's going, this and this. And even the team around him already knows that while Murkomen really made some spin about shoot to kill, but on this Monday Sabasaba protest, shoot to kill was actually exercised. Yes. From the blues, Odinga comes up with two proposals. A dialogue that ends up with some police reforms, and all that is subjected to a referendum. And the catch is a referendum.
What is to be done? I propose an inclusive, intergenerational, national conclave to hear our people across all divides and come up with an irreducible reforms and changes necessary to take the country forward. I propose that the country urgently returns to the agenda of comprehensive police reforms, focusing on enhancing accountability, transparency, and improving the police-to-people relationship. Your rogue police force that shoots people with impunity. And this is a force that we inherited from the colonialists. It has not been reformed to become a people's defender, a people's servant. I propose that the conclave I envisage comes up with better and sustainable ways for addressing transparency, accountability, and impunity, especially with regard to corruption, and ensuring that leaders are held accountable for their actions. I propose that the forum comes up with a comprehensive and sustainable strategy for addressing youth unemployment and expansion of opportunities for youth in the formal and informal sectors. Such a national conclave must have clear terms of reference and be populated and helmed by the most serious and sober minds in our nation. The proceeds of the national dialogue be subjected to a referendum.
For you to justify police reforms, you must amplify the ills that are happening. You must amplify those ills for you to justify your call for police reforms. And let me say something on police reforms. We've had this conversation for long. I remember there is even a task force that was chaired by Maraga that gave some recommendations, some about how to reform the police. I want to believe those recommendations are there. If you are interested about reforming that police service, we can. We have enough. We've spoken to the police and all, and I want to believe Maraga team spoke with all the stakeholders and even gave the country the budget and everything that's needed to be done. But we must accept, I'm referring to the story I've just shown you, the dark state is also established to protect the state. And anyone lying to us that when we sit down in a dialogue and come up with a referendum, we will be... Do you need a referendum to kick out the rogue characters, to make sure that you don't have the people? For example, when you see people going to places and saying they are going to shoot, do you need a referendum? Do you need a referendum for that? And I want to feel what Odinga is doing is just gaslighting the public. Do you know, we are talking about a referendum, but Raila is talking about a referendum there, but cannot attach the fact that we don't even have an IBC. Do you know that commissioners have not been sworn in? I don't know why. I've been trying to look around whether there is a court order somewhere. I don't know. I seriously don't know why. In fact, at this moment, one of the ways to deflate this factor is to make sure that you reconstitute IBC. Now, we are in a crisis, guys. We are in a crisis. I need to tell you that. We are in a crisis. And we're in a crisis because of these factors. And this is why I'm saying we are in a crisis. The people we are seeing on street, they are not there for the same reason. If you go to Kangemi, pale waulize, maze tunaandamana kwa nini? someone will tell you something different. Mbona rais anajenga nini kwa nini ya anachukua pesa anajenga kwa kanisa kwa State House na sisi hatuna chakula. Unaambia, mbona si tunaona huo watu wetu hawa? Mbona people have different reasons. But all of it boils to frustration. But if you give me 1 minute to the president, I will tell the president this. Unaona hii najenga barabara, sijui naweka stima, sijui nafanya nini. Stop everything and just find out how people can have the money in their pockets. Unaona hawa watu wako kwa street, hawa watu wana pesa. Shida ni pesa, by the way. I don't know how. But issue ni pesa. That I can tell you. Issue ni pesa. If it is climate works, kama hiyo inaweza absorb watu, and you feel you have money, wacha kujenga barabara, absorb so many people there. Let them have a bit of it. If it is about ile pesa ya help, make sure those students have that money. They will be spending that money and utaona itapunguza. Let the people, unaona, and this is a signal. Unaona this thing we are doing, or we are doing 10 million. Unaona ile pesa tunapatia wa mama huko kwa groups, huko kwa villages. It is not still catching. Shida ni pesa. Instead of putting up these big buildings, can we focus on value addition, on products, on raw products that we have that we can import, so that we create a very big job chain, a good job, we create jobs in different supply chains. And let me explain this with affordable housing. I've heard the president shouting about affordable housing. This is the truth. You've created job in the construction supply chain. Cement, atasema cement, mason, welder, caretaker, the tile person, sawa. But when you go to university, you'll get people who have done more than 1,000 courses. Not all of them can be employed there. So instead of kuchukua pesa za watu wote, alafu you focus on one need, house. People have different needs. And home is not a basic need for all of us. There is a difference between a home and a house. People have houses. A house is a basic need, but not even a home. A home is a basic need for someone else. But kuna mtu ako kwa level ngine hiyo home si basic need. So can we find out how people are going to have money? Let's sort this employment. This is the problem. We can sugarcoat it and look for who is funding, who is paying who to go to the street. I'm a bit more convinced. Ukiona wale watu walijaa Rongai, hata kama huyu mtu analipa, even if someone is funding, how is this financial doing it? Wale watu walijaa Kangemi, pale kwa kile Wayeke highway. Hawa watu wanalipwa aje? Who is this? How is this payment? You know, we want to understand. But if you can have questions, watu wanalipwa aje? This lazy narrative of someone is paying. This lazy narrative, I don't know, someone wants to remove Ruto from State House. We need to crash it off and face the reality. Shida iko mahali. Second reason, we are in a crisis. There is a big gap between hustler and politicians. There is a big gap. There's a big gap between politicians and hustlers. And even if Raila says referendum is good, but because of that gap, it will be rejected. Two reasons, two other factors I need to explain. The people for the first time are coming out without a voice of influence. Let me tell you, unaona zile handshake manufacturing protests that Raila used to lead. Those handshake manufacturing protests were very good because he could put them off anytime, then put them on. This one you don't even know. This one doesn't have anyone. I saw Charles Owino, a man I really hold of high respect, naming some 15 Twitter guys as the people. And I felt like laughing at that because sasa kama ni Twitter unataka kuniambia wale wa mama wa Korongai wako kwa Twitter? I will analyze that tomorrow. Raila voice has a higher disapproval over the betrayal. And if William Ruto is using Raila to test waters, then that's a very, very, very weak tool. Raila cannot be the tool at this moment because for him, he's being judged on that betrayal. ODM have tried getting off it that we never did betray anyone. But to the Gen Zs, Raila betrayed their cause, walipigana, Raila akachukua, and that is why I normally say, Raila akisema Ruto tosha, Gen Z will not vote for President Ruto. Either way, we are in a mess. And mimi ukiniuliza swali, niambia Kevin umeongea sana, jibu yako ni gani? Tafuta vile hao vijana watapata pesa. Tafuta. Hata kama utawagawa wagawe. I don't know. Just get away how these people are going to have money. Money is the problem here. People are broke. People don't have food. They don't have jobs. And those jobs are supposed to bring money. These people, the issue hapa ni brokenness. And then on top of that, they are not seeing hope. Mtu anaenda na wao kwa station. Sasa wanaona hawa hata tunateseka, wametudharau, they don't protect our rights. So this whole conversation about rights, it's on top of that right. Ile kitu inatrigger hii right. Hii right inatikana hapa ni right to good life, right to life. Awacho ayueyo. Nimesema nimepumzika.